Welcome out to Little Woodrow. It's time now to talk Lamar University football as the Cardinals coming off a road trip up to South Dakota. An FCS game up in Vermillion, getting ready to get back to the house on Saturday evening, 6 o'clock against Lincoln University. I look to my left, I don't see Coach Pete Rosamondo. I see Athletic Director Jeff O'Malley.
How you doing, Harold?
I am good, still fighting a little bit, a little hoarse, but the voice is about 99% better than it was at 3 o'clock this morning.
That's awesome. Good.
Coach Rosamondo decided to take the way to Little Woodrow's where there's a train track. So he's held up by a train. He'll be here in just a few minutes. Gives us a chance to talk to Jeff O'Malley and the athletic director at Lamar University, and just a long trip and a quick trip up to South Dakota this past Saturday.
Yeah, I thought it was a good trip for us. Welcoming environment. I thought it was a good test. It was a good up and back the afternoon. The 1 p.m. kick. I mean, we were home by, I think the plane landed in Bowman at 9:45. So, kids were able to get in and sleep in their own beds and, have a full night's rest, which is always good. Some of those trips, you have a night trip like that, you don't get into, depending on how far you got to fly, you don't get into 3, 4 a.m. Makes it a little tough to recover after a game.
We talked about this last week in case someone wasn't tuned in. Just talk about the process of traveling when you use a plane. Now, when you do a conference game, all conference games are on a bus. You bus out 4 hours at the maximum the day before. But just talk about the process of putting together a charter flight.
Yeah, you really start working on it, early spring. You start to map out hotels and start making calls where other teams stay when they play there. And then you start to work on securing a charter. You're working with a travel agent to secure a charter aircraft and go through the bid process and the state process that we have to go through to secure that, and get that locked in, get a game time set. And then as you get up, once you get the hotel secure and the charter, then it's the travel party, who's going, when you're leaving, how many buses, and so forth and so on.
One good thing about this past Friday when we left, those of us that got to the plane early were okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, the last 10 or 15, they were soaking wet.
They were. That was the one thunderstorm we had here in about the last 3 months. It came rolling through right when everybody, the last of the crew was boarding the airplane, and they were drenched for all that trip, unfortunately.
Visiting with Athletic Director Jeff O'Malley, Coach Pete Rosamondo will join us in the next segment as we talk Lamar football. Busy weekend coming up on campus, especially the Sunday soccer game has been moved.
Yep.
Talk about how that happened, why, and what's going to happen this weekend out in Lamar Athletics.
I think it's just a quirk in the scheduling that took place, and where both teams were not playing Thursday, and so we were able to move that game to Sunday or to Friday to give both teams a rest on the back end of it, and actually helps out our staff a little bit more with the 6 o'clock kick on Saturday night. They don't have to worry about trying to scour around and work a soccer game on Sunday. They can actually have Sunday off. So, and I think it works out better for our fans too. 7 o'clock kick on Friday night will lead into the 11 a.m. volleyball game on Saturday, which is going to be our home opener in volleyball, and then the 6 o'clock kick.
A&M Commerce, is that correct?
I believe so, A&M Commerce,
and make a day of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out there, watch the volleyball team. After that's over, jump over the Provost Humphrey, take part in the pregame activities.
Yeah, do some tailgating.
And then go in and watch the football game.
It's going to be some great weather. It's going to be great tailgating weather. It's going to be great football weather. So it should be a great day all the way around for the Cardinals.
Out there last week doing some stuff in the press box. I've noticed the new video board, the siding and all that. They're filling that in. That's really coming.
Yeah, it should be substantially completed by the end of the week. So the screens are up over the speakers. The backing is up as well. As you're coming up MLK, you'll be able to see the back of the scoreboard and then the graphic on there as well. So we're going to look to sell that and get some sponsorship dollars on the back of that scoreboard as well, and also on the front. So any companies out there that are interested in that, we'll be happy to talk to you about it.
How can they do that?
So you contact the athletic office. Ask for myself. contact my assistant, Noemi, and we'll be happy to follow up and get a meeting set up, and we'll sit down and talk numbers.
I tell you what, I noticed during the Idaho game, if you haven't seen that new video board, you need to get out there, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it really pops. It makes the stadium look great. It's going to be a great fan experience. Our staff, our staff really didn't get a chance to make a dry run on that video board until game day. The day of the game of the Idaho, when they were able to flip the switch on that. So they've been working on it, tinkering with it. They'll get better and better as the season moves on, and they're getting ready to hoist up that one in the Natchez Arena at the Montaigne Center as well. So that's getting ready to go up here, probably early next week.
Well, that's a mouthful. The Natchez Federal Credit Union at the Montaigne.
Yep. So
again, and just to talk about basketball, because you're gonna have a new sound system in there, a new video board, and the lighting is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a great fan experience, right? And especially with and a new floor, and that really helps out the student athlete experience. We had a lot of athletes on both the men's and the women's team that were getting injured, lower extremity injury, foot, broken feet, knees, shin splints. This new floor is going to go a long ways to doing that, but it makes the arena pop. It's a great color scheme we have down on it, great design, and with the new lights in there, it's just a whole new visual effect that I think our fans are really going to like. And even if you just watch it on ESPN Plus, it's really going to pop on the screen as well. But the sound system is going to be first class. The lighting in there is first class, and it's really going to be a great experience when you're inside the arena watching a game. You're going to be really pleased at what you see.
I know it's a crawl before you walk before you run approach right now with Lamar Athletics. What about other facilities such as softball, Vincent Beck? Are there plans down the road for there?
There are, yeah. We're slowly making our way and trying to make improvements to each of our facilities. We're trying to get that priority set as well. We're also looking at adding additional facilities on the market as well. So we're taking a look at that. We're talking to donors. We're trying to see where their interests are and what they're interested in donating to, and also what's going to greatly benefit our sports and our program and make it the best in the Southland Conference.
It's something that I know on the front burner for you and Lamar President Dr. Jaime Taylor, reaching out, community involvement. Talk about as athletic director. We've talked to coaches about this, but talk about athletic director. How is it important to you to see your student athletes out in the community?
It means the world, right? You want them reaching out, and being a part of the community. You want the community, that attracts the community to games as well, right? So as they get into schools, as they get out to events that are happening, in Beaumont or in the greater Beaumont area, they get to see how great our student athletes are, how engaging they are, how impressive they are to speak with, and talk to and interact with, and you just want to go see them. You want to cheer for them, and you really want to root for them and have them be successful. And I think that is really impressive. We try to get out as much as we can, and it's really important. I mean, not only for administrators, like I said, our coaches' involvement, our staff, and our student athletes.
And there's always a battle for, is it the Big Red Cup? Is that what it's called?
The Red Cup.
The Red Cup.
The Red Cup, yeah.
And Coach Amy Hooks in softball,
she does a great job.
They're clinging on to that thing and they don't want to let go.
She's got a substantial lead in it too, which is the Red Cup. For those that don't know, is an award that we hand out at the end of the year for the team that does the most community service hours. And softball has absolutely knocked it out of the park the last few years. And I think Amy has a stranglehold on that.
And she
on that truck.
She doesn't want to let it go.
No, she does not. No, she does. She's very proud of it, and as well she should be. And I know her student athletes are as well.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much. Again, we're at Little Woodrow's. Come out and see us, the Coach Pete Rosamondo Show.
Thanks, Harold.
And we are now joined by Lamar football coach Pete Rosamondo. Traffic issues, buddy?
Yeah. I got caught in a train, and I got caught at a red light that didn't turn green ever.
We have the mayor on tomorrow morning on our talk show, and we're going to address that stoplight issue.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He'll get it squared away.
Absolutely.
I know Mayor West do a great job of that.
Definitely. Trip to South Dakota, a very good team. I thought you guys in that first half fought hard. Unfortunately, you got to punch it in the end zone. And you came with a couple field goals, jumped off to that 6-0 lead. I think in at least one of those two drives, if you get in the end zone, the whole dynamics of that game changes.
I agree. I think we knew going in we needed to play ahead. We just needed to get a little bit further ahead and make them change their strategy. Because if they were just going to ground and pound, that was not going to be to our advantage. We knew that. And it was like a tale of two halves. We played really, really well for 28 minutes in the first half, and we gave up a score late. We had a 2-minute drive that stalled because of a couple sacks, and you go into halftime down 7-6 when you really dominated the first half. I mean, we really played well in the first half, and our guys saw it that way, and I think they were a little disappointed in how the second half went. We wound up having a punt in the first drive of the second half, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for us.
Talk about the play of your quarterback, Robert Coleman, 12 out of 24, 1 interception. That was a weird interception because he got the ball right back when Andre Dennis knocks the ball out of the guy that intercepted it.
Yeah, it was a great hustle play by Andre and got the ball back to us. Major Bowden, getting around the football. We always talk about chasing the ball, and those guys did a great job, and they got the ball back for us. And we wound up kicking a field goal, which, we dropped a touchdown pass on that drive and, really had an opportunity to extend that lead to 7-0. And that would have really helped, I think, with our defense.
Talking with Coach Pete Rossamond of Lamar Football. We're out here at Little Woodrow's. Invite you to join us each and every Wednesday during the duration of the season. You brought in Jacoby Longino late in that ball game. Was that just to give Robert a break and Jacoby a look?
No, Robert, he had a little issue with equipment. He had to get fixed up, and we put Jacoby out there, and we just stuck with it, just for that drive.
Receiving several different targets.
A bunch of guys got in the mix, and I think all the guys that played did really well. I mean, Corey Hyder had his first catch, and pretty big one, and we had Andre Dennis showed up for a couple big ones. Obviously Isaiah Jones has been pretty solid all year, but he really did some good stuff, and Kendon Fusilier, he just continues to impress and continues to do a great job of getting open and against pretty much anybody.
You look at Fusilier, and again, I've told you before, I'm biased. I covered the kid when he was in high school for 4 years. He's a competitor.
Great competitor, great worker. He's a guy you can count on to show up every day to practice and show up every day in a game. And when you're sitting in the meeting rooms and you're developing game plans, those are the guys you want to work to get the ball to. Those guys you can count on day in and day out to be out there. So he's certainly a guy that's in our plans all the time.
Kalen Griffin, a tough running day for him. He had 15 carries, 61 yards.
Yeah, I mean he played well. He's another guy. Really 3 weeks in a row has showed up and played really, really well for us, and continues to be a great emotional leader for our offense. And he just gets better every game. I'm proud of him. He had a lot of things to work on in the off season, and all those things are now that he worked on are starting to show up, and that's impressive.
Demaja Harris, I mean, he's your number 2 guy. Where's number 2? And even kick returns, he's an all-purpose guy for you.
Yeah, I think he certainly gets better each week. I think they're 1 and 1A in my mind right now. I think both guys are guys that can really do some stuff for us. And Maj's got to get going on the kick returns. He's back there, but there's a couple seams this past week. He needs to get in those seams and get the ball in the end zone, which we know he can do.
Oh,
that's been proven. So
we saw him go 100 last year.
Yeah, for sure. And so I know he can do it, and I know he's committed to getting it done.
Talk about on kick returns. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but if someone's just tuning in, a decision on when to let the ball go for a touchback, when to make a fair catch, and when you want Demaja to bring it out.
I mean, it's fairly cut and dry. He's on the 1 yard line. If he has to back up, he fair catches it. if he can catch the ball moving forward, then that's what we want him to do and return the ball. And that's kind of the way we operate and the way we've been operating. So we'll continue to do that.
35-6 that final in South Dakota. Just talk about some of the guys on defense.
Well, Peyton Christian started his first game for us, defensive lineman out of Kilgore. I thought he played pretty well. Could have played a little bit better, but I think overall, as a freshman going out there, held the point. Did some really good things on the D line, getting off blocks. So excited to see how his season continues to progress, because he's a really hard worker. He's got a huge care factor. He really cares about what he's doing, and you love to have those guys out there and see those guys have success. And Coda Kennedy played his first snaps at outside linebacker for us. He's a freshman. Really like Coda, like where he's going. I'm not sure he'll be a 2, but he's a guy that's certainly going to factor in for us on special teams, and a guy that's going to play some defense for us. I think those guys play. I think our secondary played pretty well. Christian Pugh had a big takeaway.
Yeah.
Westbrook's own Christian Pugh. We love to pump up our Beaumont guys.
And what I liked about that, James and I talked about this. I brought it up. Christian makes a big play. Andre makes a big play. Both of them Westbrook. Both of them were uniform number 1.
How about that, huh?
I wonder if they got together and said, hey, because in college football, you have duplicate numbers. You just can't be on the field at the same time.
Correct. Yeah, I think. But yeah, I those guys from Westbrook are doing a great job for us. But him, I think Ramon Stevens played a great game as well. I think that's 2 in a row for him. Really starting to play well again. Back to what we kind of anticipate he's going to be, which is a really, really good corner for us. So I think those things are all starting to come around, and the defensive guys are starting to play, and it just got out of hand a little bit at the end of the game, with them running the football and us getting a little tired. We had them on the field too much in the second half.
And I heard you, I was just a couple rows back and I heard you asking each player when they got on the plane, first time to fly? First time to fly? And there were a few.
Peyton Christian was one of them.
Were they okay? Did they freak out at all?
No, they did good. Those guys did a great job. And the travel was awesome.
It was a good flight up there and back. Like I talked to Jeff a few minutes ago, unless you're one of the last 10 or 15 on the plane, when it started pouring down rain. We are talking Lamar University football. Pete Rosamondo, we're at Little Woodrow's. We're back on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Manlong with Coach Pete Rosamondo talking Lamar University football. We're at Little Woodrow's. We're out here each and every Wednesday night during the duration of the football season. Again, the Cardinals coming off a 35-6 loss against a very good South Dakota football team on the road up in the Dakota Dome. Now, when we got to Sioux Falls, we went in and bust up to Vermilion. My assumption was initially there might be a walkthrough, but we went a little bit late. You couldn't go through the walkthrough. Did you just want to get the feel of the inside of the dome?
Yeah, just wanted to get a feel for the surrounding. I'm one of these guys. I don't want people chattering on game day about, oh, look what I saw. Like, get it out of your system now and let's just go play a game in the next day. So that's kind of why we did it, and wanted to get a feel for the travel time and that sort of stuff.
Now, how would you say your team did inside? Now, this will be the first time and only time this year that you're inside.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a different feel. I'm sure you knew that,
yeah.
From doing the game. But I think it was a kind of a sterile feel for a little bit, and I think the surface was different. It was old AstroTurf, which was like real carpet, not with the beads and the long fibers.
Not field turf.
Field turf. No, it was like an old AstroTurf, and so we had to use some different footwear and things like that to help our guys make sure they stay on their feet. So it was a change, but that's not the reason why we didn't play well in the second half. But I think we just got to continue to pound away at it and make sure the guys know that they can. I'm hoping they see, based on the first 3 games, they can play with anybody. It's just a matter of them executing at a higher level.
Although it ended up balancing out near the end, that first quarter, you had the ball 11 minutes and 58 seconds. You kept them off the field.
We did, and I think that was the key in the first half, and the reason why we were successful. And then the second half, we kind of changed it around a little bit, which was not good for our defense, and that's our offense's fault.
You talked about footwear, so talk about your equipment, guys. And how many shoes did they bring? I know you're going up there, you're traveling a lot of equipment, so you want to minimize what you bring with you, equipment-wise. But shoes, did they bring different type of shoes?
We did, yeah. I think every guy brought their regular shoes that they wore on our turf and the new turf shoes that we got them, and they kind of tried them out and saw what they liked the best, and they wore those out there. So that's our equipment guys did a great job of making sure we had everything we needed, and obviously they do a great job of loading, unloading, setting up, breaking down at the end, getting the plane loaded. They're the hidden heroes behind every trip, no matter who you play for, no matter who you coach or play for. I mean, those guys they're doing a bulk of the work.
I thought they did a great job. Usually you get there and you wait for the equipment to get loaded off the van, the U-Haul or whatever it may be, before you could take off. They did. I mean, that equipment was loaded on the plane before we got off the buses.
Yeah, we had a guy at South Dakota, a former alum when I was in Central Connecticut named Dan Syracusa. He's one of the biggest movers in the Northeast, and he hooked me up with a moving company out there. So they did all the moving for us when we were getting off the plane, getting on the plane. So, we really appreciate what Dan and his company did for us. So.
Okay, putting that one behind us. Again, South Dakota 35, Lamar 6. That's in the rear window. We look ahead. Just talk about leading up to Lincoln University. They're called the Oaklanders, the Oaks. They're out of Oakland, California.
Yeah.
A lower division team, but still a team that you can't overlook. You got to prepare for.
Yeah, no division team really. They're no affiliation. I think they have 16 FBS transfers on their roster. They have a outside backer safety that played for Ohio State in the Rose Bowl when they played Clemson. He was starting nickel for them. Really good player. They got a free safety that started at Colorado. They got a D lineman, that was an All-American junior college guy out of Snow Junior College, which is one of the best junior colleges in the country. They got some linebackers that can really play. They got a quarterback that was at UTEP, as a Houston Cy Falls kid. So they got some guys. They got a running back that was an All-American in North Dakota, not in South Dakota, not North Dakota State, but North Dakota.
Yes.
But he was an All-American in that spring season, so he's a heck of a player. They got some receivers that are FBS transfers, linemen. So they got some guys that can really play, and we're going to have to do a really good job of making sure that we don't let them get ahead. Cal Poly let them get ahead of them 13-0, and that's not a spot you want to be against a super talented team. I think they're well coached. The coaches do a good job of putting them in a position to use their talents, both on offense and defense. And they know they're good in the secondary, so they're going to play a lot of man, and they're good at it. And they were good at it against everybody they played. So we have to mind our P's and Q's and make sure we execute.
Sure, you're really excited to get back to the house.
Yeah, I'm excited to play back at Provost Humphrey and get our home crowd there and our students. And, we really want to encourage them all to come back out after, they did an awesome job in that Idaho game. And we just want to continue to grow that home field advantage, and we can't do it without them. So we need them to be there cheering us on and obviously celebrating with us at the end of the game.
Talk about the students, and do you have your team, your guys go out in to the Setzer Center or wherever it may be?
Yeah.
Get there and, tell fellow students, hey, come on out here.
Yeah, that's Alundis Pledge's job. He gets them on campus. He gets them shaking hands and kissing babies and handing out tickets, and everybody's having fun getting to know some of these guys. And Nate Gaskamp, he's been around forever. What a tremendous personality. He's out there. He's making people laugh. He's
also a big guy, so you need to listen to him.
Yeah, no, he's a sweetheart. We love him. He's our captain. He's our leader. We're so fortunate to have him, and I love coaching him every day. And the university should be proud of a guy like that. He's going to have 2 degrees from Lamar, and he's dedicated his whole career here. He hasn't gone in the portal and left. He just feels like he's a Cardinal, and this is the way he wants to finish it. And we want to do everything we can to get him where he needs to be as far as how the team performs.
All my years run together. But you talk about how committed he is. I think you're his 3rd head coach.
I am his 3rd head coach.
And for a kid to stick around, that is dedication.
For sure. And it shows up every day. The way he walks in the building, the way he smiles, the way he operates on the practice field. And, not everything's perfect. It never is, but love his attitude and his commitment to everything we do. And, he's bought in 100% to everything we're selling, and I love it.
You mentioned he's one of your captains. Prior to the season started, you named your captains. How did you select them?
They selected them. We had players and coaches votes, and they selected 3 captains, and those were the guys that got the most votes on the team. And you can tell throughout off season and throughout preseason, and that those guys were kind of separating themselves, and that's kind of how we saw it as coaches, and that's kind of how the players saw it as well. And, those guys are. They're working at it. They're not. Some of them aren't natural at the position of being up front. Nate is. It's kind of in him. And I think Jalen Freeman's kind of getting there too. He's more of a leader by example. Always has been. And Savant's kind of stepping up in that way too. He's just getting more comfortable with it each and every time he has to do it. And been really impressed with those guys each and every week.
We are talking with Coach Pete Rosamundo. We're at Little Woodrow's. Come see us on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann along with Coach Pete Rosamundo. We're out here at Little Woodrow's, Colonnade Shopping Center on Phelan near Dallin. Come out here and check us out each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the Coach Pete Rosamundo show, or when the coach arrives at 7:20, whatever it may be.
Thanks for letting everybody know.
Yeah, I had to give you a little pop shot there. That's all right. Again, we are getting ready for Lincoln University, a school out of Oakland, California. They're called the Oaklanders, obviously enough. Go by the Oaks. We talked about them a little bit, and how much of what they're coming into 3 games already?
4. They've played 4. Spread offense. You're going to see a lot of one back, 4 wide receiver sets. Quarterback does a pretty good job of extending plays. He's got good legs. He can run. Receivers are really super talented. Running back, like I said, is a kid from North Dakota. He really does a great job in space catching the ball, and he caught a touchdown and ran in for 2 last week against Cal Poly. So offensively they're pretty explosive. Defensively I would say they're pretty much on par with the teams we played as far as how many different types of defenses we see. They do a really good job. They know who they are, and they kind of just play along that. As far as how they deploy their defense in that same way. And, special teams, they have a really good punter, gets the ball away fast, and I don't know that we'll get a whole bunch of opportunities to block punts. So, we'll see if we can do a good job returning them.
And that is a 6 o'clock kickoff coming up on Saturday. As we talked about earlier with Athletic Director Jeff O'Malley, it's going to be a full day of Lamar athletics, volleyball at 11. Get out and watch the volleyball team. And then tailgating. Get out and enjoy it. You going to do the walk over again? How's that work?
We are, yeah. We're going to do the walk at, I think we're at 2:30, 2:30 heading over to the stadium right through the tailgate. So, it should be a great atmosphere. We want people there celebrating, enjoying, having a good time. I know there's a cornhole tournament going on too. I wish I could get involved, but obviously I got a game to coach.
Can you cornhole?
Yeah, I can do a pretty good job. Yeah.
I just close my eyes and wherever it ends up, it ends up.
No, yeah, we do a pretty good job. We get after it, the coaches. We've played a bunch of times together over the summer, so we get after it. We enjoy it. I think it's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. I think that the crowds enjoyed it the last time, and hopefully they'll keep coming back. I think there was some excitement. So.
What I like too, and I challenged Dr. Taylor last week if he'd do it, and he said he'd do it if Jeff did it, is the freshman run. And that's pretty cool. What happens in freshmen, right before you guys come out, all the freshmen start at the goal line, they run goal line to goal line. Now, I first saw that several years ago when we played at Baylor, and at the time the Baylor president ran with them. So that's why I challenged Dr. Taylor now.
We'll see if he gets out there and does it. That'd be fun to watch.
Cardinals and Lincoln University. Then we don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but Then you get ready for conference play the following week at home against Houston Christian. Will a game such as Lincoln help you set up for the conference, you think?
I'm not. We're focused on Lincoln right now. We don't really think too much ahead. We'll hit the conference when it's time. We're actually at Houston Christian.
Oh, we're over there?
Yeah. So, but our conference is going to be a tough one again this year. It is every year. UIW.
Now, have you been
Southeast.
monitoring what they've been doing? I mean, I know you haven't been watching them because you've been watching your opponents or whatever, but have you been monitoring the scoreboard?
I mean, I saw a little bit of the UIW game because it was late on Saturday, so I popped in on it. It was on ESPN Plus against Abilene. I'd seen Southeast play South Alabama, just on ESPN. So yeah, I've watched those guys play, and they're super talented. It's going to be this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out conference this year for sure. So we got to take care of our business this week. Make sure we do a great job and make sure we execute. We haven't done that for a full game all year long. We have to execute, and we got to be able to come out on Saturday with a win. That's the goal each week, and then we'll focus next week on whatever opponent we're playing.
Talking with Coach Pete Rossamondo, again, the Cardinals in Lincoln. 6 o'clock, excuse me, again, I'm battling this laryngitis. Won't make it through the hour. 6 o'clock on Saturday, and we talked about this before. You like earlier kickoffs, don't you?
I do. I'd rather play at 10 a.m., but the players, they like to play at night, so it gets them juiced up. But, yeah, I mean, it's just the whole day of jitters is, for me, that's just not fun, I mean, I probably play the game 5 times in my head before we ever get on the field once I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. So I'd rather play early. I think that's the fun part of college football is playing early. So, but yeah, this is going to be great for our fans because I think the sun will go down. It's going to be the weather's been great all week this week. I never thought I'd say 90 degrees has been awesome, but
welcome.
It
90.
has been incredible this week. I mean, even today at practice. Cloud cover, nice breeze. That was about as good a practice weather report that I've gotten all year long. So
it is a home.
Fired up.
It is a home game. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Take us through the schedule of Pete Rossamondo on game day for a 6 o'clock kickoff. What time do you get up? What do you do? What time do you get to the stadium, to your office?
I don't really have a choice. I get up at 5. That's just what time my internal alarm goes off, and I'm up and I'm out the door, and I usually get to the office, whatever it takes me to get there. So like 5:35, I'll get a workout in. I'll get some. I'll make sure I drink enough coffee to support Ecuador.
Let's see. Lumberton to Dauphine, 35. Yeah, you're obeying the laws. Okay.
No, it takes me about 25 minutes to get in there. 20 to 25 minutes. Depends on traffic. But so I'll get in and I'll do all that, and then I'll just start reviewing game plan. Making sure that the wristbands are all correct, making sure that we're getting ready for our walkthrough and that we have all that stuff organized and ready to go. So it's pretty much a full day, and then we'll go have breakfast with the players, and we'll have them over. We'll do a walkthrough with them, just kind of walking through some first 10 play thoughts and first down. What are we calling on our first third down? What are we calling on in the red zone first time we get in there? We're just kind of getting them dialed into the game plan. Then we let them have a break. They go rest for a little bit, and then we come back at 2:15 I think it's 2:30 for pregame meal, and then we'll start the walk over about 3:15. So, then we're it's
watching the clock tick tick tick. Yeah.
And from that time that we get to the stadium to the time that we kick off, man, that is the most grueling 2 hours in football.
How many times do you take a look at the watch or out the window at the scoreboard watching it tick away?
I'm always looking at my watch, and I go down in the coach's locker room and hang out with those guys, and we kind of talk through where guys are, where their heads are at, blah, blah, blah. We're constantly always evaluating, talking about our team. So.
What time do the players start coming on the field? do you do it? I know the special team guys come out first.
Yeah, I think generally we're out about the 90-minute mark. That's when the first group is out, when 90 minutes left, and then the second group comes out. I mean, the first real group will come out somewhere around 5 o'clock.
All right, we're talking with Coach Pete Rosamondo at Little Woodrow's on News Talk 560 KLVI. And we are with Coach Pete Rosamondo at Little Woodrow's in the Colonnade Shopping Center here on Phelan Boulevard, not far from the intersection of Dowling Road. About 6 more minutes to go in the show. Recapping a little bit, Cardinals coming off a loss at South Dakota. That final was 35-6. Cardinals got off to a great start in that game, and just too much at the end from South Dakota. Long road trip up there. Now it's back home Saturday, 6 o'clock against Lincoln University. I don't know if you get out report cards and grades and all that, but if you did, how would you grade your team at this point?
I don't know if I'm going to grade them, but I would say probably we're a C- right now. We've had some A's, we've had some D's. I think we haven't put a complete game together where I would give them a high grade yet. I think we're kind of a work in progress right now. More attitudinally, I think we're making a lot of strides from a technique standpoint. I think we're making a lot of strides from a player standpoint. I think we have to change the culture of our program. We're doing it day by day.
Right.
We're doing it relentlessly. Our players are. The guys that have not bought in are not here anymore. The guys that are bought in are all here. They're just.
And that's the way you want it to be. If they don't buy in, they don't need to be here.
No, because it's too hard to do it.
Right.
If you're not all committed. So I think the guys are committed. We're just trying to figure out ways to get better each and every week. And I think one of the things we have to do is put together a great week of practice. Really Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday have got to be great days of practice, and they don't have to be perfect, because you're obviously out there practicing to try to make sure you can get some things corrected. But we have to be spirited. We have to move. We have to be fast. We have to do. If we make a mistake, we got to make it full speed. And I think all those things we're learning, and I think we're incrementally getting better at those week by week.
What about your freshmen? Let's talk about the true freshmen.
Yeah.
Are they adapting? Are they coming along as
Yes.
you would have expected?
Yes, I think there's. I'll name some guys on offense. Carter Holmes, Westbrook guy, really starting to play well. Cortez Winslow, offensive tackle, really starting to pick up the technique, and he's a tremendous athlete. And I think at some point we'll see him. Alex Harrelson, another offensive tackle, big, 6'5", 290 pounds, moves his feet really good, starting to learn the techniques. We moved him over from defense, so he's starting to really, really play well. I think those guys are really starting to come around. I think that if you look on the defensive side of the ball with Peyton Christian and Keytron Simpson on the defensive line, are really, really playing well. I think some of the other guys, Royce Morales and some other guys we have have really impressed the coaches with their work ethic and the way they go about their business on a daily basis. So I could see those guys breaking through. And actually, we got a familiar name, Griffin. Cam Griffin, Kalen's brother, has really done a great job and showed up every single day and played. And he plays with great passion and enthusiasm and all those things that I'm looking for in a player he brings to the table every day. So I'm excited to see how those guys continue to grow throughout the season. The good news is, Harold, they love football. And man, you can tell the difference between guys that love ball and guys that are good at ball. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys that are passionate.
There's a difference. We got some guys on the team that, I think are really good at football, and that's maybe why they play football. But these guys, man, these freshmen, even some of our younger sophomores, I mean, they're just passionate about playing football, man. They get out there every day. Colin Hedges, another sophomore that, he's from Second Baptist in Houston. Man, it's just fun watching that guy go out and play, man. It makes you want to go out and actually go out and coach and go to practice.
And that could have a trickling effect
For sure.
You know, other
Yeah.
players will catch on to that and go forward.
There's no question about it. I mean, they just have a passion to play, and it's fun to watch them go. And I hope they have that same passion when they're running our offense and defense, and I'm pretty sure they will.
Let's talk about how healthy you are coming in. Maybe not calling out names if you don't want to, but how healthy are you coming into Saturday?
Well, I think we've played 3 games. I think everyone's got some bumps and bruises. I think everyone's kind of working through some things. There's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the country that are doing the same thing. They're, trying to see if we can get a guy to Wednesday practice and, see if we can get him some reps, and then Thursday see if we can get him some more reps and see if he'll be ready for the game. We're like that with a couple of guys right now, and we're waiting to see if they're going to be ready to play. They're listed on the depth chart as not playing, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get them out there, and they feel good tomorrow, and they can get out there and get a good practice in the morning and get a little recovery in before we start on Friday.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday.
Thanks, Al.
6 o'clock kickoff of Provost Humphrey Stadium.
Come on out. Can't
All
wait
right.
to see you.
Coach Pete Rosamondo, again, that's going to about do it from Little Woodrow's. We do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, supporting your Lamar Cardinals. It's the Cardinals and Lincoln University coming up on Saturday, 6 o'clock. Get your tickets now, 409-880-1715. Catch the game here on KLVI if you can't make it. Good night, everyone.